there's such a slow turnaround time with contractors because of the supply chains, in addition to a lack of labor. Can you kind of shed some light on what's happening out there in your market?
Absolutely. And it's not trade specific. So in other words, the painters are feeling it, the tile guys are feeling it, the carpenters are feeling it. It's very much a common thread throughout the trades these days, particularly in the residential settings. And as I was driving, I kind of came up with an acronym as I was kind of doing wordplay in my head and things of that nature. And it's slow. Why is everything so slow right now, Emilio? The first is S in slow would be for the supply chain, as you mentioned. The supply chain is enormously out of whack right now. I was actually earlier today, Emilio, I was following behind a truck on I-95 South going to a client meeting.
Yep.
And it was a truck. It had pallets of white cedar shingles in it. Pallets of white cedar shingles are non-existent right now. I almost wanted to hijack the truck. That's how crazy it is. Now, white cedar shingles should be as common as paper. But what's happening with this specific example is that white cedar comes from Canada.
Yep.
And Canada is still in complete disarray with regard to their production and the mills and things of that nature, as well as a lot of stuff going back and forth between borders. So you add all that up together, that's just one tiny little component of the construction supply chain.
Yeah.
So the supply chain's out of whack. The second is the labor. I was talking to a buddy of mine that is a rep for a lift company, the companies that rent like man lifts, like your 65-foot booms, booms, et cetera. I was talking to him earlier this week, and we were just kind of going back and forth about it. But the crazy thing is we can't figure out why the labor shortage is as crazy as it is, because before the virus, it seems like everybody was doing okay with labor.
Yeah.
Virus hits, naturally everybody's quarantined and this and that, labor shrinks. And then as we're moving out of it, I think a lot of folks just expected all the positions to get filled up as people became vaccinated and became more and more comfortable with everyday living with the virus as we kind of move forward. But that's not what's happening. And we're scratching our heads as to why that's occurring. Mm-hmm. Then O would be other people's projects. Okay. So you add those first two components of this, and then you're working on the folks' projects. Okay. Like say you're the mason and you're doing the, a brick wall in somebody's home, and then you're there. And although it wasn't scheduled, the client notices that their chimney's falling down. So they ask you to fix the chimney. And you're already there as a mason. You're not going to say no. So you take on that job. Maybe that's another 2 or 3 days worth of work on your schedule. But the challenge with that is that whoever is like 6 clients down in your schedule, they're feeling it because now their project gets pushed back out 2 to 3 days. Finally, with this acronym of SLOW, particularly in the trades and as it relates to outside stuff, is the weather. The weather this year has been not necessarily atypical, but it's been temperamental as any year would be in terms of Rhode Island, at least. We kind of got teased really quick this year. In spring, I don't know if you remember, but March hit like beautifully. It was like a beautiful early spring. Yeah. And we were able to get a lot of work done right out the gate. But then once June and July started hitting, we got a lot of rain that kind of started mixing into the picture. We actually had one of the rainiest summers we've ever had.
Yes.
And then, so that backs up projects heading into the fall. We certainly had our stretches in Rhode Island this year that have been beautiful, nice weeks. This is an example. But we've also had a week here, a week there, where it totally rained us out. A couple of weeks ago is a good example of that. And all that kind of compounds over a period of time. So you add that all together, Emilio. You add the supply chain craziness, the labor shortage, other people's projects, what I affectionately call OPP, W being the weather craziness that we've dealt with over the course of the last several months. And we got a challenge on our hands in the trades in general, and trying to kind of keep up with people's demands and what they'd like to see done in their homes.